am live. I'm reading Reshad Feild's book, The Invisible Way. It was published in 1979. He travelled to Turkey and he came back to England. He met Elizabeth, and Elizabeth introduced him to Noor. And he is now with Noor at Elizabeth's old friend, John, who is in a wheelchair and has got cancer. And he's supposed to teach them something. I'm in chapter 9, and the last sentence I read was, as I said, you can consider these ideas and deepen your understanding of them throughout the years. Once the seeds have been sown, there is the chance of real understanding. You must have patience, however. As Mevlana says, patience is the key to joy, and gratefulness is the key to will. Don't expect to understand all these things overnight. Everything in this world takes time. Patience is not a passive state, as so many people assume, but an actively receptive one that needs to be cultivated. Patience is something that you must work on, as it is not as easy as it sounds. If I wish to plant a peach tree, for example, I must prepare the soil carefully before planting. It will be several years before the tree is capable of bearing fruit, but I cannot leave it at that and do nothing, can I? I need to see that the tree is pruned regularly and that it is protected from animals who might wish to eat its bark, and from insects who wish to devour its leaves. In time the young tree will grow strong and healthy. When it blossoms, the weather must be watched carefully for frost. When the fruit appears, it must be protected from wasps and from people who might try to pick the fruit before it is ripe. Eventually, I would have a peach, ready to eat, which was the cause of the peach tree being planted in the first place. It is the same with ideas. They need to be sown, and the person to whom they are given must be sufficiently prepared that the ideas do not fall on untended soil. If we remain in a passive state after the seeds of an idea have been sown, it will be a miracle if anything grows. Like the peach tree, ideas must be actively tended to grow into something really useful. To be conscious takes a lot of patience and hard work. It does not come at once, nor is it given to us in a passive state of doing nothing. No one else can do it for us. We have to make the effort. And then we are given all the rules of the game. Don't let your minds wander. I am still talking about conscious sex, if you could only see it. Keep to the theme. You were told that you needed to know about women, he said to me. Isn't that true? The word matrix was used several times. If you apply your question to the subject, something may come out of it for both of you. Let me try to explain it this way. If we can see that the womb of the moment is a matrix or a blueprint for infinite possibilities, then the womb of a woman is the physical manifestation of this, also containing infinite possibilities. If the sexual act is a loving and fully conscious act, then the being that may be conceived depends heavily on the parent's degree of consciousness. Don't misunderstand, for this is a very subtle point. If you try to be more conscious, you will only feed a concept, not an idea, and you will thus build your own ego. All that can be done, actually, is to work through sacrifice and surrender to be a more fitting vehicle for grace. But John, I said, it is not as though a child is conceived each time someone makes love. What about the other times? Where does consciousness fit in there? "Oh," said John, puffing at his pipe once again. "Ah, now, that is the sort of question I like. It means that something is happening within you. Now, what is a child? It too is not what it appears to be. Did I not say that a child is the manifestation of eternal recurrence? That is the physical child. But what about the children of ideas? What about conscious evolution of the planet, rather than just organic evolution? Supposing we humans have a very definite role to play in evolution, and that evolution becomes conscious to the degree that we make the necessary efforts and become conscious ourselves. What if I were to say that conscious sex releases certain energies that can very directly bear on evolution itself, whether a physical child is conceived or not? Could you accept this?" Noor slipped her hand in mine. She sensed the confusion that I was going through, since just about everything that I had thought before in connection with sex was starting to mean little, if anything, after what John had said. "I think it's easier for women to understand," Noor said. "Most men have to turn inwards to let understanding enter, by being totally receptive instead of going out for the meaning. Do you remember reading me the words of Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas when we were in Turkey? When you make the two one, and when you make the inner as the outer, and the outer as the inner, and the above as the below, and when you make the male and the female into a single one, so that the male will not be male and the female not be female, then shall you enter the kingdom." "Well, it's something like that, isn't it?" she asked, turning to John. "That is it, exactly," he replied. "Heaven is the perfection lying within the invisible matrix from which all comes. The kingdom of heaven is there all the time, but we have to be receptive to it. It cannot be found by chasing after it. In a sense, everything is upside down, and there must be a complete transformation within us to understand these things." "But I'm tired," he said. "I haven't talked so much in years. When the time is right, we will be able to complete this conversation by going into the meaning of conscious death. However, for the time being, please don't discuss anything with each other. Just let the ideas sink in. I tell you what, why don't you take a drive and have lunch out? Just enjoy yourselves. I'm not hungry just now anyway. Come on, help me inside out of the wind. It's getting chilly." We pushed John into his study. Grey clouds were scuttling over the valley, damping the patches of sunshine. It looked as if it might rain again. I stacked several pieces of wood in the fireplace and lit the fire for John, as he was looking pale. A pile of books rested on the table beside him, but he didn't seem to notice. As I turned back at the door, I saw that his head was already nodding. That was the end of chapter 9. And I continue with chapter 10, and today is the 18th of